Guys, it's here. It's here. It's time. The time is now. The time is here. Here is now, and now is the time. Welcome. Welcome to Building Babellion. This is the Simmer Sessions. We are going to be diving deep into my short film, my senior thesis, Simmer, talking to some people who were on the production, who were involved, just to get the details, the juicy secrets, the tea, the drama. Just kidding. There was no drama. But we're just going to let you guys into the project a little bit and talk about it. But first, applause. Let's get some applause. Yes. I'm here with the first guest, the GOAT himself, Max Yillah.
Hello. Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. I'm Max. I am a senior at Temple University, acting major, and I was in Simmer.
Yes, he was. Max played Carter Williams, the lead role in my film, and he did an excellent job. And we're going to talk about it right now. The first question, Max, what were your first impressions of the story?
The first thing that I gravitated towards were the void scenes. I thought the void scenes were super interesting, and I kept thinking about how that would look like on screen and what it would be like to play that, because I've never done anything so like surreal in a way, sort of like that symbolic sort of imagery stuff. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and the language in those voice scenes were very interesting as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the story itself was very nice, and I had a lot of personal relations to the story. There were a lot of moments in the story that actually like affected me. So yeah, I was like, this shit is dope. I'm sorry, can I?
No, you can curse.
Okay.
You can curse. Yeah, it's not that type of show. But no, that's really, really interesting to hear. Yeah, especially because, I mean, you write with the hope that it will, I don't know, sending your stuff like and trying to audition and cast is super nerve-wracking. So I think you hope that it will resonate with the right people. But honestly, Max, I had you in mind from the jump to play Carter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know why. No, you know what? It was really when I had first like pictured Simmer in my mind. I can remember feeling that Carter's eyes was such an important part of the story, especially because like the first frame I ever saw of Simmer in my head was like Carter looking into the camera like through his hands. So like that Simmer glare I was thinking of. And true, I knew you already in my like brain contact list of actors. I was like, Max would probably be so cool to work with. So I'm glad. I'm really happy.
Thank you. I'm glad I could be a part of it.
So okay, this can kind of be like a two-part thing. If you want to just talk about the auditioning process in general, and for this film, just what that process is like for you emotionally and even logistically.
Well, for this film, the audition process was actually pretty easy for me. Yeah. I know you like reached out to me first, and then I agreed to it, and then we had the Zoom audition.
Yeah.
And then it was that, really. So it was pretty simple. I guess for the sides, I just prepared like a short little like a paper of just like background information, just like little things that I can get about the character from like the sides, and just like keeping that in mind going into the audition. But other than that, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much my audition process for a lot of things.
Yeah.
If I don't have to prepare like a monologue before, which I actually hate. I hate having to prepare a monologue. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I guess it's just like I feel more comfortable just getting straight into like what like the project specifically is about. You know what I mean? So like I feel like I gravitate more to like preparing sides or reading over sides more than doing a monologue. If that makes sense.
No, that absolutely makes sense.
But it also sucks because it's like I'm a theater student, and that's like a lot of it. Yeah, it's like a lot of auditioning, but I don't really like it. But I think for film, I should try to stay on topic. But I think for film is mostly just like simple things like light background work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, what were you able to or what'd you sort of draw from my sides? If you remember.
I don't remember that well.
Cause I think it was this, I think right?
It was the fight scene with the dad, and I think there was a memorable moment where you said something. It was like a note or something that you said, and I forget what it was. I think it was like I was in a jail cell or something.
Oh yes, yeah.
And like, and my dad has like the key, and I think my objective was to like
get the key.
Yeah, I think it was like to get the key. Yeah. And I was like, wow, like, okay.
Yeah, me. No, before we like sat down to do this, me in my head, I'm like, this is so weird, like interviewing my own actor about like our relationship. Just because it's interesting to hear how my direction worked, I guess.
I guess how it influenced the audition process.
Yeah, but were you finished talking about the prison note?
Only that it resonated with me a lot because it I don't know. It's like from an actor's perspective, it helped my, like, when I ran it again. It's hard to explain, and it's also been so long, but...
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, that first audition was, like... I'll tell y'all, I was so nervous. To do, like, all of the auditions. Like, every step of the process was so nerve-wracking, but...
How many people did you audition? Like...
For Carter, For Carter, we put out... I only put out... No, that's not true. We put out stuff on Backstage. We had like a guest casting agent come in and run it through her own casting agency.
I love that.
Well, no tea, no shade to Miss Wickline. It was just like that. Her, like, the way she had sent us the submissions was like super confusing on Gmail. But yeah, it had gotten put through multiple channels, and I was getting a lot of audition tapes back from a lot of different Carters, but I think it just ultimately came down to you went to Temple, I knew you, and once you sent in the first tape, I was gonna ask you for a second one, and then I was just like, yeah. I was gonna ask you for a second tape, and then I was just like, you know what? Let me just audition, because at that point I was like, I think it's gonna be Max, but
you just unlocked a memory of mine.
Yeah. Okay, how'd you feel after the first rehearsal with Wendy?
I felt excited about doing it. I had already known Wendy from before, so it was that was pretty interesting to run into someone you haven't seen in a while. But it felt fun. It felt like felt good.
Yeah, that first rehearsal was also nerve-wracking. I really never done like a in-person rehearsal like that before. So it was definitely a new experience, but it was so cool that you and Wendy already knew each other.
Yeah.
I feel like we made a lot of great conversation. So it was definitely a cool first step.
Yeah.
Very cool first step.
It was also nice to be like in a physical space rather than to like, because like with the desks and stuff, it just felt like an actual classroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like I enjoyed the in-person rehearsals, especially with you, me, and Steven.
Oh yeah, those.
Much more.
Yes.
Yeah. They were so fun. Is there anything you would do differently looking back over the course of the 5 days in the production? Or before that, whatever comes to mind.
I guess if I spent like a lot more time, I guess, in the, I guess, figuring out the universe of the play, if that makes sense. Because there's like character work and stuff, and then there's sort of like the surroundings and stuff. I wanted to get more into like the specifics of like, I don't know if we talked about like time periods. It felt very present and stuff, but just like, I guess, just like, I guess that sort of element in terms of like the preparation process.
Oh, this is really good feedback. Documenting, but yeah.
But honestly, that's it. I don't have anything in mind.
Yeah, that's the one thing we never really did talk about, which was the time period and the universe of it in general. Yeah, I think part of it was there was so much uncertainty I had about the story because of I had gone through so many rewrites and so many pieces of it were still unknown to me. Just because I was writing from a very personal place and from like stuff I hadn't even fully processed or worked through. So it was I mean, rehearsals were always like it was a challenge to figure out like how much or what I could even give you guys or how I could work with you guys on top of doing it for like the first time seriously. So wow, that's really interesting to note. What do you think made our collaboration so effective?
Okay, I think it was the fact that we already knew each other.
Yeah.
I think it was the fact, I think your direction was very helpful. The way that you talked with things and sort of like used more of like you used more imagery, I guess, which gave me, I guess, more of the freedom to sort of interpret what you were trying to give me. So I think that was very interesting. I liked that directorial process. So I think that made the collaboration so awesome. Also, the fact that I related a lot to the story and the story itself was very nice. And I had a lot of things in common with Carter.
Yeah, I really liked I liked working with you, Max. I could tell you were I could see the gears.
Yeah, there's a lot of gears. There are a lot of gears.
The mental activity, which is so interesting to watch. I can imagine like it's the same vice versa. Because when I'm like thinking of like direction to give, I'll like stand there for a hot minute. So I'm sure you can see the gears in my brain too. But yeah, I could see you taking notes and listening and really, really listening. So it was just cool to see the way you internalized it and activated it. It was so exciting to witness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We just gas each other up for the next 20 minutes. Oh my god. Yeah. So how do you normally? Because you've done film before.
Yeah.
How do you work with directors normally?
Normally, I just like, for the most part, do what they tell me to.
Right.
But I guess I just try to. One thing that I want to figure out is whether or not the director and I are on the same page. First and foremost. So lots of like communications and like notes and stuff is really helpful. So that's usually how I typically work with directors.
That makes sense. Makes sense. What was your favorite scene and why?
I think my favorite scene was when I was calling my dad in the hallway.
Really?
Yeah, I like that scene because I was sitting, which was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I liked like the little kick of the bag. Am I supposed to spoil it? No.
Nah, it doesn't matter. They'll see it.
But it was just a lot of fun. That note was really fun to kick the bag. I don't know, because it's such a simple scene, but I guess it was just the ease of it, maybe.
Ease in what way?
ease just like outside of the story, I guess, in the fact that straightforwardly it was a straightforward scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't quite put it into words, but it was just that day, I guess the whole day, just being in that spot like for a long time, it was just like it was very fun to be. It was very comforting in a way, if that makes sense. It's so weird, but
no. I like that's so. Yeah, the way you describe that is so interesting.
Yeah, so that was sort of like where the ease comes from.
Yeah. And it was the last day, so I imagine you didn't have to worry about like, oh, the next day we have to do the next day.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I think my favorite scene. My favorite scene is the math classroom.
Oh yeah.
With you and Anthony. Absolutely, that's my favorite scene. I think the way it was shot, Jalen did. You'll see.
I cannot wait to see.
But yeah, no, it's just Jalen did a great job shooting it.
Yeah, incredible.
It was just fun to see you two play off of each other. And I think Anthony's doing something interesting and you're doing something interesting. That's my favorite scene.
That was a fun scene. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that scene too.
What was the hardest scene?
I think it was the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
That scene was
both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't quite explain why. I guess it was I don't know. I guess it was just like the perfectionist in me wanting to make sure that everything was like going okay. But that was pretty much it. I also had fun doing that scene as well too.
Yeah.
Interesting being in a bathroom for hours and hours.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that I still can like remember how the bathroom felt, because it was so, there were only like, I mean, there were a lot of people in that bathroom.
Yeah.
It was such a intimate space, and the nature of the scene is so tense. And of course, I
could remember the smell of the bathroom.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I can still see the colors of the tiles, but no, that was the hardest scene for me too, for similar reasons. The God, like directing. I feel like all directors are obsessive a little bit. Artists in general,
Yeah.
I think.
No, definitely.
I don't know, like in the moment you want to get it right, and it's so, it was hard for me to almost distinguish, like we would finish the take, especially the God, what was it, the push in Anthony's line?
Yeah.
Or no, the punch in Anthony's line before the punch. Oh my God, it was so hard to tell whether my gut was correct, because we did it a lot. So it was hard for me to gauge whether I was listening to my gut correctly, or whether I was just too absorbed in it to almost let go of it.
But I think the good thing about running that scene for so long was that we learned new things and tried new things, and like we said lines in a different way. So I think that was really interesting. We didn't actually have like a perfected scene to do.
Yeah.
And I think going in there, just creating, it was like we started from scratch in a way.
Yeah.
It was really nice just making those new discoveries and stuff, and like bouncing off of each other.
Yes.
Because I know like Steven had ideas and like I had ideas and just ways that we can contribute to the scene and just make it better. So that was really fun.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, I love talking about this stuff, but no, I literally remember those in-person rehearsals when we were all, just trying to talk about the scene and how to get it right. And yeah, we never even really had a perfected version of it day of. So we were really finding it in real time, which is really scary from my perspective. But also, looking back, there's a aliveness there.
Yeah.
Okay, what direction did you respond really well to?
I guess like the imagery words were really nice.
Was there anything, not even direction wise, but a moment where things really clicked for you on set?
Clicked for me how?
I want to say perhaps you gained a deeper understanding of what was going on in the scene, or you surprised yourself in some way during the scene itself.
I guess the bathroom scene again.
Yeah.
I guess another moment that really clicked for me was the classroom scene when Mrs. Peters hands me the flyer.
Yeah.
From like outside of the scene, like from the actor's perspective, I guess thinking about the context of that and just like having someone who believes in you and just not having the confidence to sort of like match up to it. I think in that moment is sort of just, I don't know, I guess every scene made the story sound more real, but I think that's like a scene that I remember clearly.
Yeah.
Enough, if that makes sense. I hope that, yeah.
No, that definitely makes sense. Yeah. I can tell you that, oh my God. Well, hardest scenes. That one was also difficult for me. You guys did really well, but I was so nervous about, we hadn't rehearsed it with like all three, Steven, you, and Wendy. We hadn't rehearsed it with all three of us. And we lost time because the smoke alarm went off while we were shooting that scene. So we lost like an hour and a half off of the day. So by the time we got back and we were shooting, man, I was just like, fuck.
Over it, yeah.
Okay, guys. The simmer section of this interview is over, but Max isn't done yet.
Nope.
No, he's not. We're going to talk a little bit more about Max as a person, as an artist. What he likes, what he doesn't like, what he loves to do, what he doesn't love to do.
This is nerve-wracking.
So let's begin with the first question. Do you have any hobbies?
I guess so. I'm really interested in like history. I'm a big history buff, like I always have been.
Really?
Yeah. So I like to I like going to libraries and like checking out books and reading books and like,
oh my God, I love this.
Looking up shit and like watching videos and stuff.
Yes.
I think that's really cool. I'm also like really interested in architecture lately, which was like something that I picked up over quarantine, but never really left. But I like old buildings and shit and like reading about it and stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Why?
I guess just like, I think it also goes back to the history stuff. Like, I just like to learn about like things and like where they come from.
Yes.
I think that's really interesting. I'm always asking myself like questions about everything. But ever since like I was a kid, like I loved like ancient history, like ancient Egypt and like ancient Greece and all. Yeah. All of that stuff was pretty interesting. So I like to read on that stuff.
History and architecture, that is cool. I feel like it's important to have interests, of course, especially with the work we're doing, because I know, well, I just spoke about being obsessive as an artist and a director, so I feel like you need you definitely need other outlets.
Yeah.
Now, do you find that I don't even know if this connects, but do you find that any of these other outlets like translate into your
I think it does sometimes, actually. It really does. It's interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
So because I like history so much, I like Shakespeare as a result of that.
Wow.
So it's like, I guess learning about old stuff sort of gives you sort of the background of like, let's say like if you're doing a play from like a certain time period, you know, like you would know a lot about that already since, so yes. I guess it's sort of like informed. And also if I'm ever like playing like maybe like an actual person or something, helps that they're real. And so, I guess it's sort of that like bridge and connection, which is pretty interesting.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, would you ever like take these hobbies up as like an actual career? Or is it more so like this is just for fun?
It's very fun, but I don't know what I would do if I utilize that as a career.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd like it as much. I think a reason why I enjoy it so well is the fact that it's like something that I have like the freedom to come to and then like leave whenever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. What drew you to acting to begin with? The origins.
Okay. The very first show that I did was in 4th grade. It was a production of Mufara's Beautiful Daughters, which was like a childhood book. But my like music teacher, who also ran the theater department at my elementary school, adapted it into like a little like play.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Which was interesting. And then ever since then, it was just, I loved it. It was super fun.
Yeah.
And then, but I took a hiatus like from like 4th to like, I would say like my sophomore year of high school, because like the schools that I went through in between those years didn't really have like strong like theater programs, so there wasn't really much opportunities for me to like I guess use theater as an outlet. But when we did a production of Little Shop of Horrors sophomore year in high school, and so that was when I got back into theater, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I missed this. And so yeah.
Wow. So was there ever a time you wanted to quit?
I guess there were times where I thought about I guess the practicality of it, if that makes sense. But it's always something that I come back to at the end of the day.
Wow.
If the word practicality is the right word to use for it, I guess. Yeah.
You talking more so about like at least finding a job and like sustaining yourself.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
But, well, we'll figure it out when it comes.
Yeah, right. The family did not take a liking to me pursuing film as a major actor.
Oh, are they cool with you now though? They have to be.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah, I mean at this point I'm a senior, so I know my mom's just like, well, figure it out. You're gonna have to pay.
There's nothing I can do at this point.
Exactly. One piece of artistic advice that changed your life, or that left an impact, or changed the way you think about art.
This is gonna sound so cheesy, but when Viola Davis like won her Oscar.
No, because
let's talk about that.
This, like last week. Yeah.
No, like when and it's crazy because I like sort of like wrote like a section of my college essay about that like crucial moment. But when she said it's like she thanks God that she became an actress because acting was like the only profession that celebrated what it meant to live a life. I was like, oh my gosh, like that really resonated with me.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite thing about film as well. Man, I fucking love I fucking love her Oscar speech. So many gems.
She's incredible.
So many gems. But yeah, it is a celebration of life in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me like stewing in the memories of. Oh man. Okay. A role you regret. I have one for this too, but yeah, I did a little acting in high school.
Role I regret. Regret is such a strong word.
That's true.
I guess there are like roles that I look back on that are like cringe a little. It's like, oh, like damn, I was in that. Sometimes you forget that you were in that thing, and then it's like you'll be doing something completely random, like washing the dishes, and you remember, oh, I was in that thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't want to get too specific, but
yeah.
I guess there are like roles that I look back on. It's like that I get like
a shudder,
the ick,
the war flashbacks,
the PTSD.
Yes.
But I don't regret any of them really. I think they're all like interesting in their own like way.
Yeah, that's a better way to look back at your work. Oh man, yeah, I can remember I played Officer Black in Fahrenheit 451 in like my freshman year of high school.
How was that?
Well, Well, regret is a strong word. I don't know if I regret it, but I'm definitely like...
Would you do it again?
I think I would, is the crazy thing. So maybe I don't regret it. I guess I just like... Anytime I think about my my brief stint in theater, I like cringe a little bit. Just because I'm just uncomfortable with like the thought of me acting. I'm not like comfortable with it yet.
Yeah. You have like your own realm of like film and directing and stuff and writing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I would definitely do it again because the theater kids were cool at my high school.
Love theater kids.
Yes.
The theater kids, including me. I'm saying theater kids like I literally wasn't one of them.
Yes,
we were all weird.
Yes. Listen, the theater drama, I swear to God, like I'm
the tea for all of it.
Okay, let's talk about like film acting and theater acting a little bit. Is there crossover? Which one do you like more? How do the skills translate? My bad.
I guess people have always said that like film acting is just more like subtle than stage acting, because like with the stage acting you have to like do a little more because you have to convey like to the audience like the face and the body and what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I think film was nice in the fact that I didn't have to. I think I could focus more on like the inner thoughts of the character.
Yeah.
More than like focusing on voice and like breath and body and making sure like all of those things are also in check.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. I'm sorry, what was
Which one do you like more?
which I like more?
Or do you like them both the same?
So I've actually started doing film like recently. It's been like a year really. And film's been pretty nice for me as well. Which I like more.
I mean, you've been doing theater longer.
I have been doing theater longer. I guess I would say that I like theater more because, like, just in terms of like plays and stuff, there's a bigger variety.
Yeah.
And it's just like I have more experience with that one. More memories with theater.
Yeah.
Theater.
Closer to your heart.
Stage, yeah.
Now, when you think about the future, do you do film more? Do you do theater more?
I'm thinking of doing like them like equally. Yeah. Like
that's so
jumping back to forth would be really, really cool.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Love.
Would you ever direct?
I would direct. I think it sounds cool. It looks cool. But I just don't know what I would direct, you know? I guess I would probably have to make something first, like write it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea.
Yeah. Do you write?
No, I don't write.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, good thing people write things.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Thank God for writers.
Thank God for writers.
Y'all got it. I can't do that.
That's fair. All right. What do you think you need to take your work to the next level?
I feel like more training. More training. A positive, radiant outlook on life, I guess. And I think I'm speaking more along the lines of like mental health and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess like a good mind and good training.
A good mind and good
That's all
training.
I can think of right now.
Yeah. Do you want to speak on that mental health aspect a bit more?
I think for people who struggle a lot with like depression, like anxiety and stuff like that, and the big part of the career is just sort of like the competition of it all and just sort of like the uncertainty of it. And I feel like for people who struggle with like anxiety and things like depression, that can be very overwhelming. And I think your mind can sort of become your biggest hindrance to your success. So I feel like that's a really big obstacle for a lot of people. So I think figuring that out through whatever means that is, whether it's through like, I guess, therapy, journaling, whatever people like to use as their outlet, even acting, but just like, I guess, getting a better ground on your mind and mental health. I think that and good training.
Okay, follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, so I imagine how do I phrase this question? Like, acting to me, it's personal, and yet you have to it's both personal and impersonal. I guess, how do you is the work, do you see the work as therapeutic?
No, definitely. And I think the work that people do, I think theater and being in theater is also like a form of therapy for many people. But I know for some it can also be like, you know, it's like, it's yeah.
Yeah. Can you maybe talk about a time acting has liberated you?
I guess it's doing the show, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way, doing Simmer.
Yeah.
For that, sort of tapping into those connections with the character in a way was sort of very helpful. The most recent one that I can remember.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I mean,
it's like a double-edged sword in a way, because sometimes like there are things that this could just be like, this may not be something that you relate to, but like, let's say it's like an activity that you really enjoy doing, but I guess sort of like the stress about it and just sort of like the perfectionism about it, and like, am I good enough, and like just those thoughts and stuff. It's a lot, and I know for some people it's like their biggest challenge, but also in a way, like, once people are like in it, they're like gems that people find in being like in the work and just sort of like surrendering to the work in a way. So it's like that balance.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, nah, we're gonna talk about this. So no, cause I really like what you said about surrendering to the work. Cause yeah, I think about like my own experience with Simmer. It definitely felt like therapy for me. Just again, like tapping into those emotions and my own experience. And like at the same time, like trying to stay objective enough about my life to bring it to fruition. That like you capture that experience, right? Like surrendering to the work, and yet I don't know, being so deep in it. Man, it's so hard to talk about this stuff.
It is. It's so hard. It's like, I know what you're thinking, but it's hard to put into words.
Yes, to articulate it.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'm still like too close to it. I'm still in it. We're still editing it. So I like, it's hard to talk about it when I'm still stewing in it. But that's really cool to hear that it was able to liberate you. Okay, now my last question, especially from one Black creative to another. In what ways does your identity influence your work?
It influences a lot.
Yeah.
I feel I gravitate a lot towards roles that I see myself in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so I feel like in anything that I play, if I can find an aspect of my identity, whether it's like me being Black, me being queer, if I can find anything in that's very like interesting. And so I would say that like my personal self impacts my work almost like all the time.
Now, do you have any Do you have any? Because I know I think about like finding. I think we're moving into a time where inclusivity is more trying to find the right words, more favorable than years in the past. But
definitely
I still worry about maintaining maintaining my own sense of self, especially when my work is by nature something to be judged.
Yeah.
And even influenced by people who are outside of my identity.
Yep.
So to put that into a question for you, what do you think about post grad, right? When you're out in the world, how do you think you'll navigate having a voice while being in an industry that doesn't always want to hear you?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a big question.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for artists to surround themselves around people who have the common goal of making sure that these voices and these stories are getting shown to as many people as possible. And so I think what I love about like the queer community and people of color community is that it's very tight and it's very tight knit, and that we're always creating, we're always writing and I guess being artists.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just very important to be around people who are like you in many ways and who are also as passionate as you in the same goals. And then in terms of the bigger world, it is frustrating sometimes because like I understand that like the industry is much more like inclusive, but it's like it's not 100% inclusive.
No.
So it's like, yeah, I guess it's that question of how do we get to that point? Yeah, if that makes sense. If you have anything you'd like to add to that.
Do you have an answer for how do we get to that point?
I guess nothing more than what I said.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Making sure those stories are seen, making sure those stories are heard. Yeah. I mean, I always think about, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there's so many layers to like Black people even getting in the room or getting the show aired or getting the thing done, that it's almost dizzying to kind of look at it from the outside and kind of dismantle like on every single level like what is going on.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that actually, because now that you've mentioned that, I guess, well, it's not I guess, it is like the world of theater and the world of film does have like many like levels in terms of like hierarchies, and then like you have like, you'll find theaters that will do like a work that's produced by like a person of color or by a queer person, but then like you'll take a look at like who are the members of like the theater's board, and then you'll notice that like, okay, the like these like, or the artistic directors of these like big companies or big like studios, and then you sort of find that like the higher and higher you get, I guess the more white the more white it gets. So it's frustrating to think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how do we get to these, I guess, powerful positions?
Right.
How do we represent ourselves in these positions, I guess, in a way? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's so complex.
Yeah, all of the gatekeeping, and it's like how if they already have the if they already have the power, like, and we're depending on them to let us in. I mean, yeah.
It's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I think that's why it's so good to surround yourself with like artists who are like you in a way, because I feel like that definitely inspires you to keep pushing.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I don't know if I could have made it in like the industry if I was alone.
Yeah.
You know, or if I didn't know any like black artists, black directors, queer artists and directors, you know. So I guess that community is very, very important. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay. Because we probably have already gone over time. But thank you so much for watching the first episode of the Simmer Sessions. Yay. We did it, guys. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.